in your bed and grab him a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brandon T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brandon Tess, if it's your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Tess, if it's your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Tess, if it's your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Tess, if it's your ex drinking buddy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the program, I'll give you a quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do, hang out with friends, get drunk, do drugs, get in all sorts of trouble, and reminisce about crazy old stories. I am sober now, but that is still one of my favorite things to do, hang out with someone and reminisce about the crazy old days. Most weeks I will be joined by a guest. This week is no exception.
I like that.
All the way from Orlando, Florida, Kameron Patterson.
That shit feel good. I like that.
Right?
That was a good intro. Hell
What's up, man?
What it do?
How you doing?
Pretty good, man. I'm glad to be here. This shit is amazing.
Tell everybody, I always do this at the front and then we'll do it at the end too, but plug everything up front. Your Instagram, social media, all that.
So my Instagram is Cam So Funny with 2 O's for the soul. My TikTok, the same thing, but you got to put a 1 at the end because I logged out my first one. I can't get back in it. My Twitter is Kameron Patterson, but don't go there. I just be on porn on Twitter. And my Facebook is Kameron Patterson with a K because my dad used to be a blood, but I'm lying. Oh, and I got a website called camsofunny.com. Yeah, my dad know that. Website, camsofunny.com. I got hats too, nigga. Fuck my hats. I can
put that right up on there.
We can cut, take the beats down. They ain't paying me for shit. I can cuss on it?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
It's good.
So you are in New York for this week?
Yeah.
You came up, you're from Orlando, right?
Yeah, Monterey.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Damn, 3, 2, 1. Shout out.
That way.
So I've found you, this is the first time we've hung out. I found you through Zach Bennett.
Yeah.
Very funny comedian, been on the show, friend of the podcast. And he reached out and he said, hey, my buddy Cam is going to be in town in New York. Is there any shows you can get him on, or do you want to have him on the podcast? And I said, all right, cool, when? He goes, tomorrow. And I was like, that's not how that works. He's like, he just told me. And I was like, all right. And so we did an emergency schedule of the podcast because I wanted to get you on. But how have you been liking, there's so many things I want to get into because you are incredibly young. When did you start doing comedy?
So the first time I ever did comedy, I was 19. Like I was 19 years old, the first time I ever did it. But I did it one time and then I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell drugs.
Okay.
Because that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to do it. And
That's not the first time that's happened on this show.
I wasn't a very good drug dealer at all. He don't know this. I wasn't very good at it. So,
Yeah.
and I was like, I can't sell drugs forever. You know what I'm saying? I'm bad at it. I can't. I'm not making no money. I'm losing money at this point. So in the beginning of last year, I was trying to start a clothing brand, and then I met this guy who do comedy.
Yeah.
And then
Who was it? Do you remember?
His name Jada Comic. Jada Comic. Yeah, I won't go say his name because he was garbage, but he do comedy. He did comedy. I think he still do it. I love you though. You're my dog. But I met him, and he told me about.
I say it all the time. There's people who do comedy, and then there's comedians. There's a huge difference.
Yeah. And then that's how I really got started. I just took it serious after like beginning of last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I watched a lot of your stuff on Instagram when Zach reached out, and you have a polish to you that seems like you've been doing it for a while.
That's love.
Yeah, which is something that is awesome because we all in this industry deal with people who, especially when they're first starting out, they're nervous to talk on stage. They get nervous around other people. They're very neurotic. They'll get the mic and they'll just kind of stand in one spot and they don't know how to take it out of the stand. And I was watching some of your stuff and I text Zach, I go, how long has he been doing this? He goes, I don't know, maybe a couple years. And I was like, this is insane, like compared to where a lot of people were at. So when did you decide? So you did the drug dealing, you weren't very good at it, and then what made you think comedy though? Like,
so my workers at I worked at the Foot Locker. A lot of my people I work with were like, nigga, you tell a really funny story, you should be a comedian. But I never really thought about it for real. And then one day I was talking to my dad. My mama was like, nah, this is a stupid idea. You can't do it. You stupid. Then I told my, she was telling my dad, yeah, she was like, this is stupid, don't do that, it's dumb, it's a dumb idea. And she told my dad, she was like, listen here, he wanted to be a comedian, talk him out of it. And he hung the phone up, he was like, I got him, I'll do it, I'll talk him out of it. And he was like, man, if you want to do this for real, you know what I'm saying, you got to go hard at it.
He went the opposite way?
Yeah, 100%. It's like, if you want to do it, you got to go hard at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
From that's when I really was like, okay, let's really do this shit.
Well, and there's a huge difference too, because I see it all the time. is you'll go to an open mic, and like we were just referencing, you'll see people who go to an open mic, which is how I was when I first started. Is I'd go to an open mic like once a week, once every couple weeks, and I'd be like, oh, I'm a comedian. Like I did 2 open mics and changed all my stuff to Brennan T Comedy. Yeah. I remember I'd tell this on stage, but with my first DUI, they were like, what's your occupation? I said, comedian. Like I've done 3 open mics. I'm a comic. And then public record, actually, Palm Beach County, it says in the police report, suspect said occupation was comedian, comma, he was actually very funny. So I tell that story on stage because like I don't need anybody to laugh at anything. That's public record.
You got a what's the name?
Yeah,
they vouch for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got a vouch. But that was something where it took me years, and obviously with my drug addiction and alcoholism, it took me years to actually like go headfirst into it. Yeah, which is exactly as your dad had told you. That's exactly how you have to do it. It's with anything in life where it's like, because we meet so many people where they're like, oh well, it's just too expensive to go on the road, or it's just too expensive to miss work to do open mics or to miss work, and it's like that. Then get out.
Yeah,
like
it's over.
Then just get. Yeah, exactly. Then it's not for you.
If comedy not really like in your blood for real, it'll eat your ass alive.
Especially if you go on stage and you have one of those sets where
it's not good.
Yeah, you bomb. Not even bomb. Just not do as well as you'd want.
Yeah.
And that will eat at you.
It'll fuck your soul up.
It'll
fuck your soul up. It really will.
So I wanted to kind of figure out where did you get started in Orlando? Because I'm very familiar with that area.
When I was 19, I did Fat Fish Blue, and I was like, "This what open mic shit? That's crazy." I was, Fat Fish Blue was like it was popping back in like 2019.
Yeah,
that was like the spot to go to.
Yeah.
I started right after COVID for real, like, and right when COVID was ending, I kind of was starting comedy, and I went to Harry Buffalo.
Yeah,
the old Improv.
Oh yeah,
it was fucking garbage. It was horrible.
Yeah, Harry Buffalo's a rough room.
It was what? It was horrible. So that's probably why I really like started. Like the first time I really got on stage for real.
Okay. And so then how did you, this is, because it's so fresh, this is something I always ask all my guests, but how did you transition? Because you already had it in your head that this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
How did you transition into like doing open mics to like but did you just show up to all the open mics as much as possible? Or like
when I found out how it worked, because I was getting open mics like on time. Like when they say come at 8, I was getting at 8. And then I realized that people was getting there like really early to get up, so I was going up really late.
Yeah.
So I realized, like, okay, I got to get there like an hour or 2 hours early so I can make sure I get on. And I would go every day like an hour early to make sure I got on. And then a couple older guys were like, this guy's progressing pretty fast. Like a dude named David Jolly.
I love Jolly. Yeah.
Jolly, I love Jolly. Yeah. I seen Jolly. Jolly was at I think my 3rd set at Harry Buffalo. He was like, hey, nigga. Hey.
It's David.
Yeah, hey. You got it. Yeah.
He's got those eyes, man.
You got it.
I remember when I first came back, because I came back into comedy in 2018, because I took like 3 years off between arrests and hospitals and stuff. And when I came back in 18, I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Orlando, like, because that's what we would do. We'd go Jacksonville, Daytona, Orlando, and we'd just do the circuit. And then we'd hit Tampa every once in a while. So I went to Orlando, and I ran into Kermit, and I was like, hey, Kermit, I'm friends with me and Kermit. We kind of know each other now, but we didn't know each other at all then. I go, I'm friends with Marcus Crespo, who's like my mentor in Jacksonville. Yeah. He's the one who gave me the award, best podcast in Jacksonville.
Crespo the best though.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I love Marcus. And so I mentioned that to Kermit, and he goes, all right, you're going up. And I remember I'm sitting there, and Jolly was like walking around. I'm like, who is this? This is an angry man. And then Kermit was like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, David Jolly. And he goes up on stage, and I was like, this guy's a comic? And then just tore it apart. And I was like, this dude's hilarious. But he seems so intense when he's not on stage.
Jolly but he's a murderer, though.
Yeah,
but he's also a psychopath, like a really crazy person.
Legitimate crazy person.
There's something. That's when I told you, like, I told you, I got friends that I be drinking with sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, why? That's what I was talking about. I got a story, though. I got a couple of.
All right. Well, before we get into the stories, so you meet Jolly, Kermit, you meet everybody. Yeah. So then they just start putting you up on shows and stuff?
So Jolly introduced me to Vince Taylor. Okay. He was like, hey, Mike, I got a young nigga. My young nigga funny. You know what I'm saying? Put my young nigga on your show. He was like, all right, I put him on the show. Like, so I got on the Vince Taylor show where he did at this new place he was doing. I don't think he doing no more. And then after I did that, 3 months after I did that show, I was at the Improv with Vince Taylor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I kind of started doing pretty good.
Just
pretty
going.
Fast.
Yeah. So then why did you book some stuff up here? Did you meet some people? What brought you up to New York for this week?
Kev, my dog, Kev was like, you want to go to New York? And I was like, hell yeah. This the Mecca, you feel what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. That's why, we move here.
This is what comedy is. So I wanted to really see what it was like, you know what I'm saying? And you know Luke Toomer?
Yeah.
So Luke came to Orlando, started a great show called Milk District, and I met him.
Yeah, I know Milk District.
Yeah. Fucking amazing. So I would always go there and shit and just work on my shit. So I met Luke and he moved back. I I can go up here and talk to Luke and shit, probably give me on something. So that's probably the main reason me coming.
Okay. And and we were talking about this before we came onto the show, but that's the thing about living up here is the same thing that happens in Orlando, but in Orlando or Jacksonville or wherever you are, it happens where once a week, you'll get high-level comedians come into the club. And because you work there so often, you know people around the area, you can normally go see the show for free and like hang out. And a lot of times if you know the person hosting or whatever, they'll let you come back and meet the comic.
Yeah.
And that's an awesome experience. But it's once a week at whatever the club is in town. In New York, it's like that every day with hundreds of those headlining comics. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm not like going to meet like a buddy in the green room at the Improv. It's, oh, I'm going to go grab dinner at the Stand and I'm going to run into 7 or 8 comics that all headline in their own, respective place. And then you get to talking to them and then you befriend them. And then all of a sudden, God knows what can happen because, like I said, especially with how funny you are and how quickly you're kind of rising, it's very easy for someone to be like, oh, I really like hanging out with you. I like, let's go. What are you doing this weekend? Do you want to come with me? Which is why I love living in New York just for that part of it.
Yeah. Like
being around it all the time. So do you ever think you're gonna make a move one day?
Oh yeah, 100%. Hell no. Yeah, I'm getting out here. I think like in the next 3 to 4 years, I'll probably be.
How much time do you have right now?
Like 15.
Okay.
I would say a strong 15, and then I can do 20 with like crowd work and shit.
Yeah. Do you like doing crowd work?
I love crowd work.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite. Really, when it's flowing and shit. Oh, I love crowd work.
See, that's one of my hardest things. So
you don't like crowd work?
Do you know Will Blaylock?
Yeah.
So Will has always been incredibly good at crowd work. I remember I saw him at a show one time. This guy in the front row wouldn't stop talking. Really tan, older guy, big mustache. He goes, "Hey man, I know you got the Pringles can, but this is my time." And everybody died because I was like, "Where did he even pull that from?" And so like I watch him do crowd work, and I go, "This guy's like a monster." But my crowd work is different because I get. The stories I tell on stage are true stories about me, and a lot of them are very dark. So I get in this weird headspace of I'm being silly, but I'm talking about something serious. So if you interrupt me, I take that as a personal affront. And it's not like, it's like, I'll fucking murder you. Like, shut the fuck up.
I got a homeboy that my dog Caleb Davis, he's like a real monotone guy.
Yeah.
And he be like, I just rather them just not say shit to me. They could just really please be the fuck quiet the whole time I talk. If they respond to me, I'm gonna really hurt somebody. Yeah. Like the same shit. But I love talking to people. Like you want to talk to me, I can talk to you forever, and I make it funny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Unless people just like, nah. I know the only time my crowd don't go like right is if like I start off like real fucked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where they just don't understand what I'm saying, or I'm not getting as much laugh, and I try to go in the crowd, they be like, I don't know if we like this nigga.
Yeah.
But
and that's the big thing, too, is trying to get everybody on your side, which is something, obviously, as a young, energetic guy, you can probably get everyone on your side pretty quickly. I get up there, and they're like, who invited the fucking undercover cop? Like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, hey, guys. And they're like, no, boo, next.
And I learned I get away with a lot more shit than a lot of people, because I get on, we got this place called Lampshade, like in the city. It's a newer mic. But it's like it don't have no stage. So I get on and it's not really a mic. They just gave you a microphone. Like, you can try whatever you can.
Yeah.
But people will talk during your set, and I hate that. Like, listen to me, you can talk to me when you listening, but don't talk just around me. That kind of fuck me up. So I don't do jokes until I get everybody's attention. So I'll stand on the couch and be like, listen, everybody, I will rob everybody. Everybody. Or if you keep talking about rob somebody in this motherfucker, and then they'll pay attention. But I know other people like you dark, you know what I'm saying? You can go up and be like, I'm gonna rob everybody, and they gonna believe you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's a big thing. Is the dynamic is so now when I get on stage, I try to be silly off the bat to be like to disarm everybody, because I used to open every set where I was like, comedy is subjective, and I know no one here has been to jail or rehab as many times as I have, so you might not get the jokes. And I always thought in my head, I was like, oh, that's a funny icebreaker.
Yeah.
But it never got laughs because people are looking around like,
what is this?
What? And I have this story about like, I have a scar on my forehead, and I have this story I tell about, I got into a fight in college when I was playing football, and I carved my own face open to like prove a point. And that's like my big closing story. Yeah. Nobody ever fucked with me after that, but nobody really talked to me after that either.
Crazy.
But I tell that story, and that's like my favorite story to tell. It's like Bert Kreischer has his machine. That's like my machine story because it's intense. I try to make it funny, but it also brings in a lot of elements I'm proud of, like playing college football and stuff like that.
Where you played at?
Florida Atlantic University.
Hell yeah.
Oh, go Owls. But I have comics on a regular basis say, hey, you can't look like you and tell that story because you already come across as a psycho. And then you tell that story and people are going to, like the people who like that story aren't people you want to be your fans.
Yeah.
Because those are the same people who are like, women aren't funny and like, who the fuck invited, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're negative people. And they're like, and so I've been told by multiple people, like, you don't want to tell that. And it's my favorite story. But what you're saying is you don't run into that. You can kind of say whatever you want and just get away with it.
Because I learned a lot of people, they wasn't calling me funny at first. They was like, nigga, you just likable.
Oh, yeah.
You know
See, that's a
saying?
huge thing.
And I was like, well, I want to be funny. But like, well, you get it. You be funny, nigga. Calm down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you're likable. So it's easy for me to get away with, you know what I'm saying?
A
like
lot
saying,
more. Do you know who, you know Chris Buck, right?
Chris Buck.
He's a Jacksonville comic. He kind of runs the Jacksonville scene.
Favorite. I don't be out there too much. But
Okay, yeah. Well, next time you're in Jacksonville, talk to him. But he told me, similar to what you're saying, he told me when I told him I was moving to New York, his first question was like, why? And I was like, well, you know, it's the mecca of comedy. You know, if I want to make it as big as I want to, like I need to be there. And he goes, oh, you'll do fine. And I got like choked up because Chris Buck is Jacksonville comedy. Yeah. And I was like, oh, is that because you think I'm funny? He goes, no, absolutely not. But you're really good with people, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're saying, like it's being funny, especially in certain markets and certain areas, being funny is almost a byproduct. Like everyone's funny.
Yeah.
It's about how are you likable? Do you have stage presence? Can you handle yourself in certain situations? Do people want to hang out with you? How many people have we met that are hilarious, but when they get off stage, they're dicks, and you're like, I don't even want to be around this person.
They're not the same person. They get off stage and it's like a switch they flip on. Like, what the fuck happened to this guy? Like, yeah, I don't, nigga, that's a joke I told.
That's a character I play.
Like, what the fuck?
There are some people up here where I've talked to friends of mine and I'll be like, hey, that, you know, so-and-so's kind of a dick. And they go, oh, well, it was a character. Like he was getting on stage, like doing like this character of an asshole. And he did it for so long that he just became an asshole.
I got a homeboy like that. And I don't think he gonna become it, but he's like, I'm not saying he like plays an asshole.
Yeah.
My dog Donald, but he's a funny ass dude. But he'll come up to me and be like, hey, that joke wasn't shit. I need you to understand that joke wasn't shit. And you garbage. And when he tell you some shit that's like meaningful, you be like, oh wow, you really fuck with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he like that too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like a lot of times I don't think people understand how it can really affect us as comedians, where it's like, hey, like my girlfriend does it sometimes where I'll be like practicing a bit at the house or like go writing because I write on a whiteboard. So I'll have the whiteboard out and I'm like moving stuff around and like look like a crazy person. And she'll go, that's not funny. And in all seriousness, and I'll turn and I'll go, no, it's funny to me and I'm not unique. There's other people like me. So it's funny. Yeah. Someone's going to think it's funny. And she goes, nah, I don't think it's funny. And just her like saying that, like trying to help.
Fuck your mind.
For weeks, I'll be like, fuck, is she right? And then I'll try it and it doesn't hit. And I'm like, she's right. I'm not funny. I'm a fraud. I did a show one time. It was my first big show in New York and it went okay. And I genuinely was like, I've got to move back to Florida. I'm not ready. I'd done plenty of bar shows, all that kind of stuff. It was my first big show at a big club in New York. And I was doing a spot and on a produced show. So it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't on audition or anything, but still it was like the biggest thing in my career up to that point. And it went okay. And I invited like 30 people. Yeah, so like, you know, 15 showed up. So almost a quarter of the room is there to see me. And it still just went okay.
That's up.
And I was like, I would have rather bombed. Because you learn a lot more from a loss than a win. But a tie, you're like
what the fuck happened?
What happened? And so then I was telling you, I did the show this past Monday at the best club in New York. I'm not allowed to technically say where it was, but it's the best club in the world. So I do that show. And I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to do this the way I want to do this. And I actually, to your point of what you were saying earlier, I was a lot looser, a little bit more silly. And I just started talking to people, which again, like we were just talking about, I can't do very well. But I was like, what do I have to lose? So I just started talking to people. Of course, there's like 7 people from Florida in the audience. So I'm like, oh, bet. Like, here we go. And it actually ended up going a lot better. But one bad show, or even, like you said, your friend Donald coming up to you being like, that's not funny. Even if he's fucking with you, it's still like...
He's 100% always fucking with me.
Yeah.
But it's like, why, come on.
Why would you say that?
When I first met him, I was like, hey, listen, you can't be playing with me like that. But I don't understand what the fuck you mean by these jokes. He's like, no, it's garbage, but I like it. What the fuck does that mean? don't help me at all. It's horrible, but it's funny. What do you mean?
It's garbage, but I like it. So I wanted to talk to you. Where did you went to high school? You said you were born and raised in Orlando, right? Where did you go to high school?
I went to Accord High School.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take notes throughout this. You'll see.
Go ahead.
So you graduated 2017?
2018.
2018?
I failed a grade. I reclassed in 2nd grade.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good though, because then you're bigger once you get to high school.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't? Oh, yeah, you're not. You're not.
Yeah, it didn't help. I just real shit. I failed, but this nigga keep telling me I reclassed. You can't reclass in 2nd grade. It's not something you do. You don't do that. You don't reclass in the 2nd grade. He like, nah, you reclass and you get bigger when you get older.
Yeah.
That's what happened. But I can't read. You can read. You can read.
You can read just fine.
Yeah, they don't know what they talk about. You just miss some words out. That's the problem. Just some words get hard for you. We reclass. That's okay. You be fine.
We'll do it again. Run it back. Run it back.
I almost didn't make it out the 2nd time.
Really?
Nah, I did. I played.
Yeah.
I'm serious though.
That's something I always think about, and this is how twisted Florida is. And I think they do it in Texas too. But because like sports are such a big deal, I constantly think like, why did my dad? Because I graduated high school at 17.
Yeah.
Because my birthday falls in the summer. I'm like, why would my dad not hold me? I didn't hit my growth spurt till I was a senior in high school, and I'm like, if he would have just put me into school when I was like 6, going on 7, I'd have been huge. Like a monster.
Yeah.
Because I'm 6'1", 220 now, and that's the same size I was by the time I got to college. But in high school, I was like 5'8".
You'd have got way more offers.
Oh yeah. Well, and I was also supposed to go to Mainland, which is a huge school in Daytona.
Was Vince Carter winning shit?
Yeah. So that's where I was zoned for. But because I was in IB, the Smart Kid program, I ended up going to Spruce Creek, and I make this joke all the time. That Spruce Creek was really good at like the rich kid, country club, white kid sports like tennis and swimming. And we used to get our asses kicked in real sports like basketball and baseball and football.
This is fucking hilarious that you said you go there. If you went down deep enough on my Instagram, you would see, I played basketball in high school, right? But I wasn't like the best basketball player ever. I was kind of a bench warmer. So my coach wouldn't like, he put me in the game when they were like, we was either getting blown out by 40 or we was winning by 40. And we never was winning by 40. So it was only when we was getting blown out.
Yeah.
And we were playing Spruce Creek and y'all was white as hell. Like y'all was the whitest school in the country. And I had one black guy on the team. And so when we walked into the gym, we were black as shit. So we walked in the gym, they seemed kind of nervous until we started playing. Like, these niggas is garbage. And they started kicking our ass, like murdering us. And I ain't, so halftime, this real shit. This real shit. So they beating the fuck out of us at this point. Halftime come around, and I ain't played a lick in the game. I ain't played at all. My coach is a real crazy person. My coach come in the locker room. Listen, I didn't play. I haven't played yet. He come in the locker room and go, hey, you know why we losing? It's all Kameron's fault. I ain't touched the court the whole game.
Why was it your fault?
Because I kept calling my teammate a pedophile before the game. And he was our leading scorer. And he was like,
you got in his head.
Oh, I didn't. He was senior in high school. He was fucking a freshman. You a pedophile, nigga. But the fucked up part was, I called him a pedophile in front of my coach. And my coach was like, why you call him a pedophile? Because I say he fucking a freshman. He go, what? Yeah, you a fucking pedophile. And then in the game, he goes, yeah, it's your fault we losing. Nah, maybe it's us as a team. Maybe we did that together. But I say that because he put me in after halftime. He put me in the game. And I was so nervous because I already fucked it up for some reason. I already fucked up the game for us. So I was so nervous that I tried to throw a skip pass to my teammate, and I threw it to the the side baskets.
Yeah.
I threw it to that basket. They're not even in play.
Yeah, the ones that are up.
Yeah, they were Spruce Creek fucked up because they were down.
They were down?
School's retarded. I can say that.
Yeah,
I'm half
say whatever
retarded.
you
I can
want.
say that. Our goals were down.
You got reclassed, man. You can say whatever you want.
I can say it. Yeah, I had a team. I had somebody in my class named Donnie. He wore a helmet, so we was in the, you know what I'm saying? So I can say that we was in the same class. The shit was down. It wasn't supposed to be down. And I hit it. I hit the shit. And yeah, I hate Spruce Creek for that. We won the game, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah,
you ended up winning?
Yeah, we did. I didn't help at all. I didn't do anything to help win the game.
Yeah, it was not a school that you would go to if you wanted to excel in like major sports.
Yeah.
That was Mainland, which is where I was zoned for. So I mess with my dad all the time. I go, I would have had like 10 Division I offers if I would have just gone to the school I was zoned for. But no, I went to Spruce Creek where we had one guy, Jeremy Campbell, who ended up playing at Clemson. He coaches now, but I remember the only time scouts came to see us was to see Jeremy. And so like everyone would be like, I mean, he was like he played outside linebacker at Clemson. I don't know if he ever started, But I remember he was on special teams and stuff like that. He's like 6'1", like 219, 215, something like that. But because very typical for a mainly white school, and our population was inflated. Like we were a 6A school, but that's because we had IB. So we had kids from like 7 different counties all coming to one school.
Yeah.
And IB is a smart kid program. So these aren't kids that are helping us out on the football field.
You need the dumb niggas like me, you know what I'm saying? That are taller to be. Yeah.
So our numbers all got inflated. So then I remember Jeremy played wildcat quarterback, wide receiver, outside linebacker, safety. Like we would just move him all around the field because
he was the team.
He was the team.
Yeah.
But I remember he was the only one who got like a big offer, and everyone else ended up going to these small like 1AA schools or Division II schools, and everyone was back except Jeremy and I. Almost everyone else was back by the end of the next summer because you're away from home, you're no longer the big fish, even if it's a small Division II school.
Yeah,
like
somebody who really could have went D1 but got
that
hurt.
wanted, yeah. And that happened at FAU a lot too. Is we'd have people because South Florida is the hotbed for recruiting, so we'd have people who just wanted to stay close to their family. So we had these 5-star recruits coming in, and they're like, "Yeah, I got offered from Alabama, Ohio State, Florida State,
why are you here?"
But it's like I want to live. My mom lives right outside Boca and Del Rey, so I'm not leaving my mom. And I was like, these are fucking grown men.
Yeah,
like these like grown men.
That's why I ain't played football in high school, because I played football like my whole life. My brother was like an All-American quarterback and shit. So he was like, he was that I was gonna be like that, but I didn't grow. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get to grow.
Your body didn't get the memo.
He was like, nah, nigga, nah, you gonna be a comic in your life. On some real shit. So I knew I couldn't play football because I played it when I was young and shit. So when my 9th grade, I walked into the weight room because we were living with the basketball team, we were living with the football players.
Yeah.
So I walked into the weight room. And I seen them niggas, and I was like, oh, these are not high school students. They was throwing 45-pound weights at each other like they was baseballs. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I can't. And these niggas lose. Like, our football team was garbage. You know what I'm saying? These the losers?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the losers right now? Fuck that shit. I didn't want to do it.
We won the 4 years I was at Spruce Creek. We won state in weightlifting every single year. And a lot of those guys played on the team.
How?
We had one winning season for football.
That's disrespectful.
We had the best weightlifting program in the state. Like we won like 28 out of 32 state championships. Most of those weightlifters were on the football team.
Yeah.
It just doesn't translate though. But like it's the same thing you're saying. Like you walk in and you're like, oh, these are grown, like freshmen, like 225, like it's nothing.
These ain't
and you're
people.
like, what are we doing here, man? Like, what are you guys putting in the water?
I hated it. I didn't want to be in the no. And they chased us that same day. They took our socks. They did. They took our socks.
Well, it's also funny too, because I'm obviously much bigger than you are, but I didn't even when I first started playing football, I hated it. Like you hit each other and I'm like, this hurts. Like, nobody told me this was going to hurt this much.
It's horrible.
You get done with practice and you got bruises all over your body.
See,
and you're
but you played though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You played.
Well, then after a while, you realize it hurts you, but you're also hurting the other person. Yeah. And then obviously, as a sick individual, I was like, oh no, this is fun now.
Yeah, I was a practice nigga. Like I remember one time, cause I in Pop 1 you had to at least get 6 plays. I remember that. I was a 6 play nigga, so I didn't get hit a lot. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I used to play on kickoff. You know, you supposed to go hit somebody.
Yeah.
I was running like I had the football, and I was
just avoiding everybody.
I remember one time I knew I couldn't be a good football player because I was in the game, right? I was in the game, and everybody on our team, we had gotten in fights and stuff like that, and everybody got like ejected. You know what I'm saying? So I had to be a running back for the rest of the game, right? They put me in the game, and I got hit the first time. I can't do this shit.
I don't want to do
These niggas hurt, but that sounded gay as hell. Pause. That shit hurted, dog. I didn't like that. That was not enjoyable. I was like, these niggas, we had the right people at running back. It's not me.
I played running back.
You did?
In college.
That shit hurt, man.
Well, I played fullback. I was a blocking running back. My a guy that I played with, Alfred Morris, ended up playing in the league for like 10 years.
Hell yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I used to joke with him, and the most country person you've ever met in your life. We used to practice. Our practice field was next to a water treatment facility, and every day he'd come out and he'd go, "Hey, coach, it smells like poo-poo out here, man. This is poo-poo water you got us drinking." And we're all like, this guy's going to go to the NFL and make multi-million dollars.
Hey,
and he doesn't understand that it's a water treatment. Like, he honestly thought like the water was like toxic.
That's hilarious.
I was like, what is happening?
He got CT early. It was he caught that shit quick. He had that one since he was 17.
No, I love Alf. He's I wanted to talk about though, because you're still like we were talking about, you're newer to everything as far as like coming up and stuff, but you've been getting into I want to talk about the drug dealing. Just real quick side note. How long did you do that for?
I want to say like a year and a half.
Full disclosure to everybody listening, we do have some friends and family in the studio.
Yeah, my dad, he ain't know I did it for real. Cause I was living with my mama.
I love how you look at. No.
I lived with my mama at the time, and this the funny part. My mama is a very I can't think of the word. She's very protective of me, but she's very naive on things. So I had baggies and I had like a little locker in my room that I had since I was a little kid, but I put like baggies like for the weed and shit in my shoe. You know what I'm saying? And she saw the baggies and didn't think, oh, he's selling drugs. She immediately thought, oh, my son smokes crack. That was her first thought. Like, oh, my son is smoking crack. I was, why the fuck? We have TVs in the house.
Came up in the 80s.
No, what the fuck? I have 350 baggies in a shoe, and you think I smoke crack?
That's a lot of crack.
I smoke that much crack?
That's a lot of crack.
So she would tell him, oh, I think he smoked crack, and nobody knew I was really selling drugs. But
you're naturally amped up as a person.
Yeah. So she was like, oh, this probably some good crack he's smoking. But I had to inform her that we still have TVs in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if I was smoking crack, there would be no TVs.
No TVs.
You know what I'm saying? So, she thought I was smoking crack, but I was a very bad drug dealer.
You lost money.
Yeah, but so, you know, when you sell drugs, nobody supposed to know your name, right? You're not supposed to know your real names. So I was using my initials, but my dad is a smart person. Every kid he has, his initials is KP. So I was using my initials, but I was selling drugs for the whole family. You know what I'm saying? I was KP for everybody. You feel me? So I was doing that, and I remember I had to serve somebody, and they pulled up to the car, and I was like, I ain't got no money. I cash app you. I was like, I bet my cash app was connected to my name.
Oh no!
So they were like, your name Kameron Patterson, and I was like, nah, that's not me. That's my fake drug dealer name. Actually, I stole this nigga cash app. I stole it. I stole that fuck nigga cash app. That nigga don't even exist no more. That's not a real person. What I said?
I made sure of that.
Yeah, he done. And then I changed it to KP, which is my initials, and people always been kind of funny. So people always be like, what does it stand for? I be like, kill people. It stand for I kill people.
I kill people.
Yeah, I kill. I know you know. At least you know. So and I ain't like hanging around killers. Hanging around killers is scary. You know that?
I've hung around because I've been arrested 8 times. I've spent significant amount of time in jail, like 4 or 5 times. And it's interesting because I've hung around more dangerous people in New York comedy than when I was...
For real?
Yeah, because when I was in jail, it was a lot of I got caught sending dick pics to my boss's 14-year-old daughter. And I'm like, this is fucking...
I was with killers. They killed people. And they told you.
Some of these comedians in New York are reformed drug dealers and ex-addicts and stuff like that. And one guy, I love him to death. He's like the sweetest, you would never know. Because he'll come up and he'll fuck with you. Give you a big hug and start biting on your neck. And you're like, ugh, what's going on? Dudes killed people, and you're like, this is weird.
They do that because they didn't get to be kids because they were killing people when they was younger. That's what they
that's the thing is he's been in and out of the system since he was 11 years old.
Yeah.
And so now that he's reformed and a productive member of society, he never got to be a silly little kid because he was involved in that kind of shit when he was 12.
But I was around people and they were like, it'll be my inconveniences and they already have killed somebody. They be like, listen, you understand I'll fucking kill you? But he just stepped. He didn't step on. He stepped by your shoe real close to it. You gonna kill him over that?
Those are some of the people you were hanging out with?
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't want to be here no more. This is horrible. This is horrible. I'm just sitting. I'm like, this is fucking horrible. Nigga, they would talk about it so casual. Yeah, that nigga dead.
That's what he does.
Yeah,
the guy I'm talking about. He's like, yeah, well, I'll just fucking come by and shoot him. And I'm like, you're kidding, right? He goes, well, now I am, but 10 years ago I would have done it.
I was
and I'm
very serious.
Over nothing. And I'm like, this is insanity.
Shit is wild. That's when I realized, damn, this not for me.
So you get out of that life, and now you're doing comedy. And you said you sent me the text about some of the stories and stuff, and you mentioned it earlier with Jolly. So you started now that you're hanging out with some of these degenerate comics, you're starting to do some degenerate things.
I drink now more. I used to smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah,
I smoked. Cause I sold weed, so I drank. I smoked a lot of weed. I smoked
yeah, you said
day.
You had stopped smoking.
Yeah, I had to. I had no choice. Cause I would smoke. Cause more people I smoke like a joint. You know what I'm saying? Get my mind mellow. I was smoking grab a leaf.
Yeah.
So I would smoke I get 3.5 a grab a leaf, and I roll. I smoked like I was a rapper, but I was broke. I ain't had no money. I was smoking my weed.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But I had pounds of it. I could do whatever I want. It's mine. I feel like the Monopoly man. I got all this weed, nigga. I can smoke it all, and I was fucking up the weed.
Mine.
Yeah, it's mine. I was singing with it. I got all this fucking weed, nigga. I was so happy. I was happy. Meanwhile, I was asking this nigga for money with all the weed. I'm like, please help me. I need more money.
Help me. So now when you hang out with the comics and stuff, because you're just now 21, or are you?
I'm 23.
23.
Yeah,
okay. Because you said forgot.
Yeah, so I stopped.
You got reclass. I'm sorry. I was like, you just graduated like 3 years ago.
Yeah, reclass early.
Yeah. So now that you're 23, what do you like? What kind of do you get in trouble? Because like we mentioned earlier, Jolly's a pretty intense guy. I know Kermit doesn't drink too often because he trains and everything like that.
Not too much.
Who's probably the craziest comic that you hang out with, and that's in the Orlando scene that gets like rowdy?
David Jolly.
Yeah. Okay.
What? There's nobody compares to this nigga. How many? But David Jolly is like so. This is probably the funniest story that I have. So one time I was outside the Mike Lamb shade, right?
Yeah.
Like Mike just ended. I was eating a pizza. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Everybody was gone but the host, right? So I'm sitting there. I'm just chilling. I'm getting ready to go home, and it was just me out there. Jolly walked around the corner, drunk in here. Hey boy, what you doing out here? Said, this the mic, right? This the mic? I said, yes. I said, yeah, but it's over. Oh, it's over? No, it's not. I'm David motherfucking Jolly. And then he go to the host. He said, hey, let me get back up there. And he's like, it's over. He's like, let me get back up there. He said, fuck it, go ahead. It was 4 people in the bar and the bartender. So Jolly go up. He up there for like 25 minutes.
Just hanging out.
Just doing a whole bunch of wild, just drunk as shit. So he up there and he go, hey, bartender. At this point, he calling me his son. He said, hey, get me and my son 2 mock tequilas, but put the tequila in it. I want the tequila. So 5 minutes go by, tequilas come, right? He go, hey, who ordered us these drinks? Who got us these drinks? Thank you whoever got it for it. I appreciate you. What the nigga, you ordered the drink? No, I didn't. I didn't order these drinks. Jolly. One time, we was at B-Side Retro. I can do this shit the rest of the podcast. Nigga. Yeah. We was at B-Side Retro, and it's a good room. Jimmy Monahan run the room. Man, that's my dog right there.
I know Jimmy, yeah.
Yeah, great dude. So it's a fucking amazing room. So he called me when I was at work. He was like, hey, where you at tonight? And I was like, B-Side. He was like, hey, I'm riding with you. Like, come on. So me,
you're coming from Orlando to Melbourne.
Yeah. So me, him, and my dad rode up there, and we get there, and Jolly is twisted, like drunk as hell, right? And he did this show a couple times. Actually, the first time we did, the first time we did the show was like a covered alcoholic meeting. So it was like 8 and stuff like that. That's the only people that was in the room.
Yeah, I've done a couple of those shows.
Yeah, but it was a great show. It was like 80 people there.
Because they understand. They love comedy.
So Jolly get there. This is the first time I ever did it with him, right? He ended the show. So Jolly been drinking the whole show, like come in and out with alcohol. And he get on stage, he go, hey, I heard everybody here is in Alcoholics Anonymous. You're like, you're not supposed to say that anyway. And then,
at all. That's what the anonymous.
That's what it's for. And then he go, I applaud y'all on that because I'm drunk as fuck right now. I could never do it. And then he just goes into his set. So the next time we get there, he go to the back and he goes. Sometimes you see God, and sometimes you see David motherfucking Jolly. You can't compare the two. I don't think those are comparable people. Nah, they're comparable. The Jolly, I fucking love Jolly a little bit. That's right. That's really like my mentor in comedy.
Yeah. God, does he ever get you into trouble?
Nah, cause I know how to just avoid shit. You know what I'm saying? But I know he be like, hey, listen, we gonna fuck these bitches. Cause we did a couple things with some females together. You know what I'm saying? He said, we gonna fuck these bitches. We gotta stop by the gas to get I need a dick pill real quick. You need one? I said, nigga, I'm 23. You just talking about bitches. My dick already hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been ready since the bitches said we could fuck. All right? You can get your own little dick pill, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to ask you about, you did send me one other thing you had mentioned about the mushrooms. I wanted to know how that happened.
White people.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
White people. There's too many of them now. They influenced me.
Was this in Orlando?
Yeah. So
what? How did you set it all up? Who are you hanging out with? How does it even come up?
So my dog Tony, right? My dog Tony Wellens. He big. That's my cousin. He white, but that's my cousin.
Yeah.
And he big into like mushrooms and stuff like that. And he was telling me like, man, mushrooms is pretty good. It's good psychedelic and shit. You know what I'm saying? My girlfriend wanted to try. I'm like, we can try mushrooms. So I got a chocolate bar and I ate one time and it was fine.
When is this? Like, is this on the weekend? Is this at night? Like,
it's like at night. It's at night. So I ate a chocolate bar with my girlfriend. It was great. You know what I'm saying? I ain't feel nothing. So my dog was like, bro, you want to see shit? I'm like, not really. I don't really want to see nothing.
I'm all right.
I think I'm fine. He was like, nah, nigga, you ain't even experienced it unless you seen some shit. So he was like, you just have a chocolate bar and eat this mushroom. You know what I'm saying? You'll be fine. So I ate to have a chocolate bar in the room, and then
are there mushrooms in the chocolate bar?
Yeah. Okay. And then I ate like 2 caps of the mushrooms, and it was amazing. For the first 3 hours, it was great. You know what I'm saying? It was amazing. Like I was like, this is pretty fucking cool.
You seeing stuff and everything?
Yeah, it was like my hand moving pretty. So this is pretty nice. The last 3 hours, I thought I died for 3 hours. Like I was in bed and I was like, I think I'm a dead nigga. I don't think I'm hittable. I thought it was over. I thought life was over.
How did you come out of it?
I tested everybody. Right at the end, I was telling people like, I fucking hate you because you didn't tell me that my closet was gonna turn into a desert. Nobody told me that. Nobody told me when I looked into my closet I was gonna see sand. Ain't nobody said that. I looked outside like it was like a loading video game. The shit was wild as fuck. I just kept hearing people who was talking about how good they was, and they were like, but mushrooms is great. And I just kept thinking about like, these niggas hate me.
You thought they set you up?
Yeah, they ain't tell me I was gonna see all this bullshit. I hated it. I really died. I didn't like it.
Would you ever try it again?
Nah. I'm scared. I like being drug free. It's pretty cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now
Even though it's like more like a psychedelic type shit.
Yeah, and it's really weird with mushrooms because I know people who swear by it.
Yeah. They like microdosing.
Yeah.
David Jolly. That nigga love mushrooms. You know how people be like, I'm microdosing? So one day I was telling him about it. He said, you don't like them? So we did a show in Fort Pierce, right? And me, Tony, and David Jolly. And Tony had like a bag, this is the first time I ever seen mushrooms. Tony had like a bag of more, like it was like at least a quarter of mushrooms. And he was like, man, Jolly was like, man, Tony was like, man, eat as many as you want. It's cool. So Jolly was fucking scarfing them down. Like, these mushrooms are great. I said, they can't taste good.
That's not. Well, they come out of shit, too.
Yeah, so how are they good to you? And so we eating them. We get to the place, and he hosting the show.
Oh, God.
So Jolly's in the back. I walk into the bathroom. Jolly in the bathroom by himself. Nobody laughing hysterically. Like he goes, I said, Jolly, you good? Nigga, I'm the funniest nigga in the world. I'm funny as fuck. And it just walks out and murders the show.
Did he?
Murdered. High as fuck on mushrooms. I'm pretty sure he thought we was talking vegetables by the time he got to his last set. Because the nigga was gone. But he talked to me about, he was like, yeah, man, I like mushrooms. I be microdosing. That's how I'm going to take you days. I take like 2-3 grams at a time.
That's not a microdose.
At all. That's
a
not,
dose.
You high, nigga.
Yeah.
Like, nah, but it feels great.
You might know him. He's been on the show. He was talking about Rob Rowick.
I love Rob. Yeah, I love Rob.
Rob was talking about microdosing. He's like, yeah, I just take a little bit and I put it in my tea. And I was like, so you just, and he swears by it. He's like, no, it levels you out. You're kind of like smooth all day.
Rob got money, so I listen to Rob. Whatever Rob be like, I'm going to do it. Rob got money.
When he bought that house, I don't know if you've ever been there.
I ain't been there yet, no.
You got to go. He built a whole podcast studio in it. So he, a studio with like screens and everything. He bought that house. I remember when he first bought it, I came to visit. And in my head, I'm like, oh, this is a money pit. Like, you're going to lose so much money on this. And then, to his credit, I think we brought it up on the podcast, but I went back like 8 months later. So like I've been living in New York for like 6 months. I come to visit. I go over to his house because he lives right near my dad. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like he turned like the spare room into a full like Joe Rogan Experience style studio with like TVs everywhere and like a ventilator so you can like smoke cigars and cigarettes while you're podcasting. And like I was like, you don't even have a podcast. He's like, oh, I'm trying to work on one. So like I wanted to. But he swears by the microdosing. He says it's changed his life. But then there's people like Jolly where you're like, you're just doing mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Like, but I like them. I enjoyed them. But I didn't like that I couldn't leave it. Because with weed, you can be like, I'm done being high. Yeah. And weed, it just go away.
Well, it's the same thing with drinking, too. Like, you just, like, stop drinking.
You can figure out, like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But mushrooms, like, nah, nigga, I got you for the next 4 hours. Yeah. And that's what I kept hearing. I was like, how long this lasts? And somebody who told me that during the day, they were like, it lasts 5 hours. I'm like, I'm in hour
playing over.
I'm in hour 2. I got 3 more of these
We're
bitches left.
just getting started.
So it was, I didn't like that at all.
I've never done those kind of psychedelics because everyone always tells me like, hey, if you're an anxious person, you shouldn't do it. Or you should be around people you like. And I'm like, I'm super anxious and I don't like a lot of people. Like, I don't think I'm built for this. So I was always just drinking. Like when I got to school, my roommate was the smoker and I was the drinker. So it almost worked out perfectly. But then I was very much like Jolly, where I would just like
go get hammered.
Yeah, like fucked up, like to the point where I used to get on stage and I would do impressions. So it's a 5-minute set, and I would do impressions for 12 minutes because none of these nerds are gonna come get me on.
Yeah,
stage.
at all. You can do a special right now. I let your ass go. This nigga a big white boy. He can do whatever the fuck he want. All right.
But I used to get up and be like, oh, what are you doing? And then they'd like give me the light and I'd be like, fuck your light. Like, Arnold is here and we're doing this. You guys love it. And it'd be like 3 people at a bar with like the Magic game on in the background. And I'm like, the Orlando Magic. More like the Orlando Tragic. Am I right? And everyone's like, the fuck is happening? Which is why I had to stop drinking. Yeah. Like you were mentioning with the smoking earlier, I was like, this has gone too far.
Yeah, it gets bad, bro. Yeah. It gets like to the point where like, okay, I can't continue life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, life is not gonna be no fun for me if I keep doing this thing right here.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. So when you decided to stop smoking weed, was it because like you mentioned earlier you were just like out of money, or was it were like things not going well?
Shit wasn't going right at all. My mama came out the crib. I lost my job like the next day, and then I ain't had shit going. You know what I'm saying?
Your job at Foot Locker?
Yeah.
How'd you lose that?
I cussed my manager out. Yeah, I did.
How did that happen?
So she a fucked up person. But she had a crush on me. You know what I'm saying? She liked me and shit. But my thing was, so it was a guy I used to work with at Foot Locker when I first started. He was a store manager, but he didn't give a fuck no more. I worked at West Oaks Mall. And if you know anything about West Oaks, it's like the worst mall in the country. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was nobody there. So we didn't give a fuck about Foot Locker at all. We would just go there and chill and talk to each other. And when people came in, we thought they were interrupting our talking time. You know what I'm saying? That's how
a lot of places are in New York.
That's how it was.
Like, you walk in and they're like, the fuck do you want? It's
why
like,
do you want to be here?
Yeah, it's like, I wanted to get...
Yeah, like, nah, leave, nigga. So they were fucking us up with talking. So that's all I did was talk. When my boss went and got another job, she came in and was like, oh, now we got to work. I'm like, that's not what we do here.
I don't know if you got the memo.
Yeah,
but
we don't work here. And I was a manager. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And my boss would always tell me like wraparounds for shit that didn't make sense to like all the other managers. So she would try to tell me to do something, and I'd be like, I don't think that's how that works. We don't have to do that. She was like, nah, that's how I supposed to listen to her. I'll be a good little minute now. We don't have to do that shit. I promise you that. So one day she had a crush on me. She would tell me she was losing weight, right? And I didn't want to hear it. I just walked. I said, I don't give a fuck. I walked away, right? So we got into an argument later that day because we used to go at it like every day.
That's how I am with some of my managers.
Yeah, so we would go at it. We was going at it in the back and shit. And then she called me a special child. And I can call myself retarded, okay? Yeah. You're not finna call me retarded. You're not finna call me that. So I was like, listen here, you fat. I called her a fat fuck. I called her a fat fuck, yeah. And that's what caused it. Like, you said, shut up, you fat fuck. And then that kind of hit.
That was
like,
it?
Oh, that was the scroll. That was the scroll.
Did you just turn around and walk out, or did they have to like fire you?
Oh, I stayed the rest of the day.
Did you?
Yeah. My cousin worked there because we snuck him in. Because my other manager snuck my cousin in. He let my cousin work, and we didn't tell her he was chill with my cousin. So I called her a fat fuck, and I walked back to the floor. My cousin was like, hey, you finna get fired. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm good. Like, nah, we do this shit every week. I'm fine. And then the next week, I went to work and there was another manager there. And I didn't see nothing of it. Cause I'm like the guy at the mall. I'm like, he must just be taking over for her.
Yeah.
So I'm at the front. I'm chilling, you know what I'm saying, doing what I do. People coming in talking to me like, hey, nigga, on the shoes drop. I'm like, they coming out next week. Fuck me next week. You know what I'm saying? And so not knowing that they was firing me that day. So I wasn't gonna be here no more after that. So yeah, it was over. But Foot Locker was good to me though, man. That's really why I sold a lot of weed at a Foot Locker.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could imagine just being around people. That's the thing too, is like in the restaurant I work at, not currently, but I've worked in steakhouses for a long time. It's Coke. A lot of Coke you'll sell.
Yeah.
Because you always get these like fucking finance bros or these people who want to party. They're celebrating a birthday. They don't go to these nice restaurants very often. And as soon as they finish dinner and everyone's like losing their steam, it's immediately like, hey, do you guys know where we can get any? And you're like, well, yeah, obviously. Like, of course I know.
Look around you.
Yeah, like, of course I can find you some.
So when I first started comedy, everybody in my house was telling me, listen, I'm gonna tell you the real shit. White people love cocaine. All right?
Yeah, they do.
You gonna be around a lot of white.
We love it.
Don't do no fucking cocaine. All right? Don't do it. That's the first thing they said. Don't do no fucking cocaine.
First time I ever saw it, I was like something out of a movie because I was straight edge through most of high school. Like I didn't fuck with any drugs or anything like that. And I remember I was in college and I was at these two girls were staying in the freshman dorm and I went to visit them and they were just doing coke. And I'd only ever seen it in movies and stuff. And I was like, you guys are just like, yeah, you want something? I was playing football at the time. I was like, no, I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And then fast forward 2 years when I stopped playing football and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like you're running around and people are like, we should start a business. Why haven't we thought of this before?
Underground railroad restaurant. We're white. We can do it.
We can do it.
We can do it. Nigga.
Did you know Harriet Tubman had a speech impediment when she got hit in the head with a brick? That's a true story. Did you know that?
I did. I learned something.
Yeah.
I learned some shit.
My minor was in American history. Yeah, so you don't do cocaine. Don't.
Nah. I don't need cocaine.
I'm just, yeah.
You see how I'm built right now?
Yeah.
I'm good. Like this shit built into my skin.
Well, and it makes me nervous too, is because I've had some people on the show, comics and stuff, who, we're very open on the show. I like people to be able to talk about whatever they want, and I encourage that. But I get so scared when people come on and they're like, yeah, I'm still doing, we get coke like once a month or something like that. I get scared only because of the fentanyl thing that's going on right now, where I'm like,
up.
We just saw, there was, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
In LA, 3 comics just dead.
I was talking to somebody, and this is fucked. I'm trying to make it funny, but it's fucked up. Somebody I know, he was like, yeah, nigga, we make them pills with the fit in it, but it's not a lot, so we can kill you just a little bit. I said, nah, nigga, no, that's bad. No, it's not a lot, it's a little bit. I know we put the right amount in it so it don't kill nobody, but it's enough to get you high. That's not what it is.
Well, that's the thing is, so they put in a lot of. So now what's happening, especially with like pain pills and stuff, is they're putting in a lot more filler. And then you just put in a little bit of fentanyl and you'll get the same effect as like a full thing of heroin. But the problem is addicts don't understand that. So they just do as much as they want to do and then they die. I don't understand why they put it in cocaine, because cocaine's an upper. Like, why are you putting this huge downer in cocaine?
They don't give a fuck.
We kind of got off the rails.
We did. It's okay. It's all right.
Plug everything one more time. It's been about an hour.
Big.
I know you got a lot of stuff going on.
Cam, we got to eat. We ain't eat all day. My stomach hurt. Cam So Funny on my Instagram. Cam So Funny 1, that's my TikTok. My Twitter is Kameron Patterson. But I told you I watch a lot of porn on Twitter. So you looking for some good porn stars, fuck with my Twitter. And my website is camsofunny.com. I got hats and shirts on there and shit.
Get your merch.
Please fuck with my merch. And then that's it. One more thing I want to do, like a really big shout out. My pops is sitting in the corner the whole time, but like that's the real reason. Like I'm doing anything with comedy or like progressing in my life. Like he the main reason for this. Like he the biggest part of like my progress. Cause man, he support me. So I remember when my car, I crashed my car like right when I first started doing comedy, and I was getting into it like really heavy, and I was like, man, how I'm gonna get these mics? You know what I'm saying? I can't get the mics. Nigga, we got a car. I have a car. You got one. And I've been driving his car ever since. Now he ready for me to get a new car. Now it's been a year.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But he been. That's like I couldn't do none of this shit. Like nothing ever. Nothing with comedy without my father. So
are you a big comedy fan?
I am.
You are. Yeah. So is this kind of like this is a cool thing then, right? This has got to be awesome for you, right?
It is.
Yeah,
I was proud of him until you told me the drugstore shit. So now I'm kind of down with it.
It's just the program. Don't worry. We're gonna have certain comics on here. This show's gonna blow up. Then we'll put your episode out, and then you're gonna be like, "Never mind. That was great. That was great. I love it." Yeah, but this is funny because juxtaposition to that, my dad saw one of my sets, and he goes, "Hey, you've got great stage presence. Now you just got to find someone to write you some jokes."
That's fucked up.
I know what he meant because my stuff is very dark. I know what he meant, but in the moment, like we were talking about earlier, I was like, yeah, so I guess I'm going to kill myself. I don't know. I guess
it's over. I think I just quit comedy.
Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Brennan T. Comedy on all social media, BrennanTComedy.com. Check out the merch store for your ex-drinking buddy merch, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Yeah.
That was fun, man.
That shit was funny here. I enjoyed it. He really upset about the drug thing.
When did you come out of the